Hi there. Today I would like to talk about one critical step you have to take if you're going to improve your pronunciation of English or any other language you are learning. Without taking this step, I believe that continued and progressive improvement in your pronunciation is not really possible, especially after you leave formal instruction in classes or online courses, etc. As a way of ensuring continued progress, the important thing is to understand that becoming aware of the problems that you have is critical to actually any kind of improvement. So it's possible to improve your pronunciation in an ad hoc or sporadic way, depending upon some feedback somebody may give you or something you might realize occasionally. But to ensure that your improvement continues and you take your pronunciation to the level that you desire to, you have to understand that becoming aware of the improvements you need to make or the areas that you need to improve is critical to any kind of improvement. So in every other skill, we instinctively recognize this. So for example, to improve in a sport, we notice that whatever we're doing, whatever we're playing in a sport is not really working, so we work to improve it. In cooking, it's the same, or in dancing, we notice something and then we start to improve it. It's the same in pronunciation. It's necessary to notice what is not working or what you want to improve. So without that step, it's not going to happen. So that basically is the area I wish to talk about today. So the first general comment I make about this is that in terms of improvement, it's not really adequate to say, oh, my pronunciation needs improvement. It's too broad. It really can't do much with that. It's like saying I need to improve my basketball. Well, that's not going to work. You can say I need to improve my shooting or my... And the smaller the area that you focus on, the better it's going to be. So the general principle is find an area in your pronunciation as small as you can make it. So the smallest possible unit is a phoneme or a sound like, for example, A or A or E. These are phonemes. So that's the level I believe you need to start. To accomplish the improvement, I will suggest a 3-part process. Now the parts, you can swap them around and do whichever one you want, try it first, but ultimately all 3 parts are necessary. And if you ignore any one of them, I believe the results you get will not be as good as you can get. I'll go through the 3 parts. So ideally, in terms of finding what area to improve in, I suggest that you start listening more carefully and try to actually find something. Some people I have found struggle with this, and there are various reasons for this, which I won't go into at the moment. But if, for example, you have tried this and you really can't find anything at all, apart from the fact that you know you don't sound so good, my suggestion is to go to a skilled professional who actually understands pronunciation and get some input from them. Don't ask your neighbour or your friend or your doctor or somebody like that for some advice, because my experience has been they just don't really know quite what to focus on, and whatever they say more often than not is not actually accurate or they don't go down to the right level for you. At the bottom of this video clip, I'll post a link where you can go to get some really focused help, just in terms of identifying the problems you have or the problems you need to work on. So anyway, let's keep moving. So once you've identified something to work on, so let's go back to this 3-part process I was just talking about. So for the first part is you need to become aware in yourself of what is the sound. For example, let's say it's an A, for example. You have to become aware of how you're saying this particular sound in yourself. So what does it sound like to you in your ear? So you're not just by itself, but also in words you say. And also you need to become aware of how it sounds in different words. So depending upon the location of the word, of the sound within a word, so for example, whether it follows a P or a T or a Y, it can actually alter the sound a little bit. So it's necessary, or at least you should try to drill into it and see if you can find any small changes in that sound. Another thing is also important is to try to become aware of where in your mouth you're making the sound. So is it more down here in the throat area? Is it further up? Are you using your tongue in any way? What's the shape of your tongue when you're using it? What's the shape of your mouth? Which part of the mouth? And so forth. So all these things you need to sort of look into yourself, which you might not be familiar with, not experienced with, because you haven't been asked to do this before. But you'll find that becoming more aware of what's happening in your mouth and how you're using your mouth to produce the sound will help you when you ultimately want to actually make the change. But this first stage is become aware of what you are doing and how it sounds. The second part is to listen to other people saying the same sound. But the second part really is all about listening to other people, see how they say the sound in different locations, watch what they do with their mouth, use your ear to become more familiar with that sound. What is the contours of it, the shape of it, how does it sound? So the more you go into it, you'll find that your awareness expands, and so you can hear more of it. Initially, when you first start doing this, it'll just be a blur of a sound. But my experience has been with people I've worked with and also with myself, is the more you look into a sound, or the more you look into anything, the more you see inside it. So it's a matter of really focusing your awareness onto this and playing with it and see what you can discover. Okay, so the third part is what you probably expect, is all about doing something, changing what you do yourself. And this third part is, of course, where the rubber hits the metal. But don't be disappointed at all in what you first start doing, because what you're trying to do is see if you can change something in your mouth, in how you say it. Now again, start with the simplest element. Let's go back to A. So just start saying the A. Can you say that? Change something in what you say down here to alter it. So I, A, E. So all these things you can change. Now, every time you do that, you're pushing the sound around a bit. You need to decide with your ear, you're getting closer or further away from what you believe you've sort of found different in somebody else. And so by trying this yourself and working at it, new things will start to pop up in your ear as well. And then once you start doing that, you can put consonants before it or after it. So for example, you can say ape, or ate, or ache, or you can say tay, or pay, or fay. So you can play around with which part of the word or the sound the word appears in. And only once you start to play with that and you start to get clarity, you should go into bigger words. But don't go to bigger words until you can actually discern a difference you're aiming for. And this difference can move around. It's not going to be you hit it once and every time you hit it. It's like, for example, playing basketball. Because you can shoot a ball in one, oh my God, I did it. It doesn't mean you're going to do it every time. Put it in there. So it's the same with getting the right sound. You might find, oh, that sound was really good. You do it again, oh, it's off. So it's a bit the same way. You're trying to find that sweet spot. And once you can start finding it more consistently, you're on the road. Actually, you're on the road if you make one change, really, truth be known. But you're really on the road if you can do it more consistently. And only once you can do it more consistently in the very short kind of sounds or words we're talking about, should you actually start to increase the size of the word. So it's important to recognize with skill improvement that it's a step-by-step process we're talking about. We're not talking about moving from one part of the process and jumping to perfection. You know, you're moving step by step. And really, as with any skill, if you start missing steps and you're jumping too much, you're going to find that you lose the plot a bit and you start getting disappointed in yourself and think, oh my God, I can't do it. Well, the reason you can't do it, if you were able to do it in the first stage, by itself, is because you're jumping steps. You need to go back to where you actually were successful and break the steps, the movements of steps down to smaller steps. And that's the way you start to achieve mastery in the skill. So I hope by looking at this, you get a better idea what you need to do to improve your pronunciation. If you have any comments, of course, or questions, please go down below and leave them. Happy to get back to you and give you some more input. And good luck with it all. Till next time, it's been Andrew Weiler here.